supposed to be learning here in Syria. Or Nassim, Yechiel Nassim Ben Sarah. We'll start Nun Gimel on the top, right on the top line. Tanu Rabbanan v'Nassan esek teires aleish l'fnei Hashem. Should place the incense on the fire in front of Hashem. Gemara says, "Le'isakin mi b'chutz b'yachnes." You should not prepare it outside and bring it in. He has to place the keteris on the coals once he's entered the Holy of Holies. What's the alternative? Was to place it on the outside. He's holding a fire pan anyway, and he can bring it in already smoking coals. You can bring it in like that. So this is Lohitzim Liban Shel Tzedukim. Apparently the Tzedukim would do it like this. Shaimrim, they would say Yisakin me b'chutz b'yachnes. They would say that you put it on put the incense on the coals outside the Holy of Holies, and then the Kohen Gadol would walk in holding the coals already smoking. My drush. Yeah. Just 1 second now, because here, you see he's holding the, let me hold this up. Steindl has a picture, trying to see if the picture is of the Tzedukim or of the, he's got a smoking coals there, walking between the curtains. Right. But in his other hand, in his left hand is the keteris. The coals are gonna like, there's gonna be heat coming off the coals regardless. Doesn't it? It wasn't a Tzeduki artist. So they were too from. So where'd they get this from? My drush. Ki ba'anan eira la kaperis. Malamit she'yisakin mechutz v'yachnes. They said with the cloud. V'yachnes. They go or v'yachnes. V'yachnes. And v'yachnes means in bring it in, or I will enter, or the person will enter. Yachnes. And he will enter. Yachnes. Okay. They'll catch me in Israel right away, and then I'm an American. So this teaches us that, according to them, that it was prepared outside, and the yachnes, the emphasis is on yachnes. And he should bring it in after it's already prepared. The sages said to them, but it says in the pasuk that he put the keteris on the fire in front of Hashem. That means it's going to be inside. So what does it mean that with the cloud I will be seen on the keteris? Above the kaperes, that's where Hashem would meet with Moshe or Malamed. Shenaisin by Mala Hashem. Kiban and Eirel kaperes means is just emphasizing that you have to put in this herb that's called Mala Hashem, a smoke riser, and that's what that pasuk is saying. Keep on an that you need to have that in. It's not telling you that when you enter, you have to have it already as a cloud. It's telling you need to have a certain herb in the keteris. But the keteris was a special mixture that it says in the Torah. But apparently the malashon was a different one, and that needed to be added in. Uminayin in the keteris. I'm sorry about the Maloshin isn't one of the 11. Maloshin gets added in afterwards. And how do you know that you add in this smoke riser herb? Shnemar v'kisa anana kateris as a kaperis. You're quoting another passage there. But if you didn't add in the mala ashan, the smoke riser, very severe punishment if the misses out on one of the spices, it's a death penalty. It must mean from heaven, not that they take him out, that the court takes him out. That one.
Well, no one would really see it. It's not that.
I understand. So there's a little bit of a problem with this brisa. But yeah, Tanur Rabbanan. The Gemara is going to discuss it shortly because it started off saying that Kiba Ananera al Kapiras tells me that you have to have Mala Ashan. And then it says, and how do you know that you have to add in Mala Ashan? It says, V'kisan ana Kapiras as a Kapiras, brings another pasuk. So what's that a support for? I mean, we already said it. So typically the Kama'ayel Birikonis, you have another problem. You're telling me that if you're missing one of the spices, it's chayiv misa. There's a chayiv misa for a different reason, because he entered into the holy of holies without the right ingredients. That's considered a birei kanas, a empty entry. It is a purposeless entry, and the pasuk says, "Al yavi b'chales." Yeah, you can't just come into the kodesh hakadashim. You have to have a reason, and here you don't have a reason. So forget about that. You missed one of the spices of the ketores. You don't have ketores. It's not a ketores violation. It's a kodesh kadashim. Kodesh kadashim violation. Amar Rav Sheshes, yeah, the Gemara takes this into a new realm, a Talmudic realm. The issue is that he didn't realize that he's not allowed to enter for no reason. So he's a shaggy. So the Chiyav Misa is not going to go on a shaggy. However, he did know the law that the Ketores needs to have all 11 spices. So he is a mazid with the Ketores, but he's a shagag. He's a shagig b'biyah with entering into. So that's why.
What's the cooking saying?
Yeah, we finished with it.
But is that what they're saying? Talking about the malash on outside, and you bring it in, only with malash.
Right.
So that's what we're saying.
No.
And so if you didn't do it, you get mixed up.
No, the tzaddikim aren't mentioning the malash. I don't know what they hold in malash. They say that their emphasis is the cloud needs to be there when you enter. That's kiba anan eral kapairas. Is that you need to already have a cloud upon entry. That's we say that we put with the cloud. They say you need to walk in with the cloud. Right. We say that I have in one hand. Oh wow! I have in one hand the coals. We say the other hand I have the ketores, and in that ketores mixture needs to be malashan. When am I going to pour the ketores onto the coals? That's after I get inside. They're not discussing if there's malashan in that ketores. I don't know if they have malashan. Maybe they do, maybe not. But whatever it is, they pour the ketores onto the coals already outside. You want a Gemara? You want a Gemara? Let me see if there's a. Give me a sec.
Page 257. Page 257.
Okay. Rav Ashi Amar Afil Temi Hizid Bezu Bezu. Rav Ashi says that you can go. You want the Hebrew? I didn't realize. Rav Ashi says it could have been it could have been amazed in both. It doesn't have to be once a shaggy. Could go in the ayos the aktaris. Achas shleima v'achas chasera. And the Bialai Mechayev the Ayalach Shlema Aktar Mechayev the Makter Kteres Chasera. Another Talmudic answer. Why do we say that he's Chayev Misa for missing one of the spices? He's Chayev Misa because he came in without the full Kteres. So the answer is that he came in with the full Kteres. And he also came in with the Kteres missing one of the spices. He had two separate portions of Kteres. So you can't claim that he came in for no reason. He came in purposelessness because he had Kteres. But there's a prohibition because the other Kteres that he had was missing. Okay, that's how we resolved that issue, that there's a problem of Chisrach and Kosim. Why couldn't it just have said that the Chisrach and Kosim now is talking about, it has to be Yom Kippur. If it would have been talking about a regular K'tairas, I have the answer. It's not going into the Kodesh HaKodashim. He's doing it in the Heichal. But apparently this is clearly referring to the Yom Kippur, and he's going into the Kodesh HaKodashim. So over there, why do I need to say is Chayiv Misa for missing one of the spices? Okay, Amar Mar. How do you know that you put in malashan, smoke riser, herb? Pasuk says Vikisa, that the cloud will cover the kapairas. The Gemara asks an interesting question. Kra lekra. You're bringing a verse to prove another verse. You already said that we mentioned this before. You already said Kibana Neira la kapairas, that it'll be seen with the cloud. And then he says Vikisa anana kteres, the cloud will cover. Why were we asking the question if you already said you need the smoke riser in it? And how do you know you need the smoke riser? Vikisana. You already said from Kibanan. Amar Rav Yosef Hachikamar. Rav Yosef says this is what it means. Ein li ela ala ma'la ashan. Ikar ma'la minayin. I only knew that I had to put in a leaf of the smoke riser. How do you know they have to put the roots of the smoke riser? Talmudayma v'tisa. You have to put in both parts, the leaves and the roots. Amalei Abaya. Abaya is a student of Rabbi Yosef. He says, V'yibcha we have a brisa that says the opposite of what you're saying. Now, it's not really the opposite, but Rabbi Yosef's emphasis was that if I have to put in the smoke riser, it's probably the leaves. Now, how do you know they have to also put in the root, which is not as effective, but you also have to put that in as well? It brings another pasuk that says you have to add that as well. Abaya is going to tell them, no, the roots are the most effective part. That's where all of the nutrients that make it the smoke rise. The leaves are not as potent. So the Tanya was taught in a brisa. Nothing but ikar malashan hayamatama va'ila kamakal hachemagila shmeikaira. If you put in the root of the malashan of the smoke riser, it would go up until it reached like a stick until it reached the root. Metamer va'ila. Does metamer mean like it goes up like a date, like a palm? It sounds like it because the palm tree. Think about the palm tree. It goes like that, and it spreads out like a stick until it reaches the roof. Then it sort of like holds on to the walls, and it goes down the sides of the walls until the whole house is filled with smoke. It says the house is filled with smoke. So if that's the case, we're talking about that the root of the malashan is the one that did that. Elamar Abaya, rather Abaya says, Hachikamar, this is what it means. Ainly ikar malashan, I would only have thought that you have to have the root. Allah malashan, how do you know that you need the leaves as well? So you switched it around from what's the main one. Pasuk says a little bit more.
Maybe you would say, you said the word fill it up. That would with the leaves. It's probably that. When you put leaves inside the fire,
Ramesh is suggesting that the leaves made it more fluffy. The cloud, a different type of cloud. Cumulonimbus, whatever they call the cloud. Then the professor is saying if it was a mushroom cloud with nuclear fallout. Okay.
So it would seem that the normal Kataris that was built on the Mizbeach HaPanimi, maybe they didn't care if it went up in a straight line or if it spread out right away. It should be the same. I guess this is
We say in the Keteris Malash and Kulshul, we say that they would add in a drop of Malash
in the regular
in
Kataris.
the regular Keteris, yeah.
So also, so that it would go up straight and hit the ceiling.
Yeah. 11. And then plus Malash. Yeah, I guess Malashan is not considered a spice. It has another purpose.
It's like adding salt to soup. It's
Yeah.
still called soup.
No. I don't. What the spices? 11 spices. What did they correspond to, Daniel? Not the tribes. In the I guess they would correspond to the spheres of the with Kesser or Kisrin de Misavlusa. I think it's they count for the Kalifa. In Kalifa, there's 11.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but the tribes wouldn't work because it's 11, not 12. And the added one still doesn't change the number. Yeah, we still call it 11. Ian is suggesting that now there's 12. That's what he's saying. So maybe it corresponds to that. Amar Mar was taught before Minayin Shneisim B'Malashan. I'm sorry, we just did that. Rav Sheshis we're holding. Rav Sheshis is 3 lines from the wide lines. Rav Sheshis Amar Ne'ela Oyel Mayed Shebemidbar. I only know that they had to do this in the desert. Shilei Beiselam in Minayin. How do you know also in Shiloh, which was the place where they built the Mishkan when they settled, when they entered into the land, and Beis Elamim, which is the Beis Hamikdash. Tamalem V'Kisa says V'Kisa. Says 1 second. Hi, mi v'chein yasal Oyel Sheichen itam nafta. No, we know this from someone else. That's all you should do to the Oyel Mayed, to the tent of meeting that dwells with you, which means that wherever you're going to go, that Hashem is going to dwell. You should do the same thing. Alachi kamar. Ainli ala b'yem kippurim. I only know that you do this on Yom Kippur. How do you know you do this the rest of the year? That's where we get it from. Makisa. That extra pasuk. I thought it tells me that you had in the leaves. I guess there's different versions. Ravashi Amechad Mitzvah V'chad La'akev. Ravashi says, so let's go back to this. We had a question why we need 2 psukim. Reb Yosef says that it's to tell me the roots. Abaya says it's to tell me the leaves. Reb Shesha says that it's to tell me that you have to do it in the Beis Hamikdash as well. We said no, that we know for another pasuk. Okay, so for Reb Shesha that's to tell me that you have to do it during the year, the Malashan. Ravashi says one's that it's a mitzvah, that this should be a Malashan. Another one tells me that it's La'akiv. If you didn't have that Malashan, then it affects the validity. Rava Amar Chad La'inish V'chad La'asara. Rava says that the 2 verses that tell me to add in that it should become a cloud, the Malashan, one is to tell me that there is a punishment if not. Another one tells me just to warn me. Al Yavai Kiba Anan is the Azhara. The Kisa Anan says for the Yamas, the Kisa says is the punishment. Don't do this and don't, when you do this, V'la Yamas, and you won't die. Tanya was taught in a brisa. Rabbi Lezer V'la Yamas Einish Kiba Anan Azhara. See? La Yamas is telling me that there's a punishment. And Kiba Anan is just telling me the warning. the rule. Maybe the warning and the punishment was said before the sons of Aaron died. No, it was said afterwards. This is verse 1 in that chapter. Maybe both of them were said after the death. With the cloud, I'll be seen above the lid. The Azhara was said before the warning, but the punishment was said after they died. My Talmuda, what is this? How do we know this? I will be seen. They hadn't been seen yet, so that had to have been said. He hadn't been seen yet. There was no punishment. It didn't say Balayamas yet, but the future tense is telling me that Hashem didn't appear yet. Why were the sons of Aaron punished? It sounds like, from this Gemara, it sounds like they did something wrong with putting in the smoke riser. That's what it sounds. That's where it's like leading to, but it doesn't conclude like that. Kedatanya. They set a rule in front of Moshe. Should have waited for him to give the ruling. They spoke up in front and they ruled without asking. My Josh, where do you see this? The sons of Aaron put fire on the Mizbeach. They were correct that even though the fire comes from heaven, but there is a mitzvah. The fire comes from heaven, but there is a mitzvah to bring fire from here, natural fire. You have to make your own fire. Say natural, worldly fire. So yeah, it must mean Sarisa Bilasata mitzvah lahavim min ahadid. Yatsa uvalei derech knisasei. He goes out. Yatsa derech knisasei. He goes out the way he came in. Mina hanimili. How do you know this? That's a very common pair when it comes to Agadita. Shmuel Bar Nachmani says a lot of drushes on Psukim based on Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Yonasan's teaching. Well, it wasn't Yonasan, he would have been much earlier. There's a possibility that Rabbi Yonasan is Rabbi Nassan. And it's his full name, Rabbi Nassan's full name is Yonasan.
But no one was like, what?
That's something. So Amar Kra, Vayavei Shleima Labama Asher Begiven Yerushalayim. There's a preposition missing in this passage. Shleima comes to the Bama that's in Givain, Yerushalayim. Now it doesn't say that he came from Yerushalayim, or it doesn't say that he's going to Yerushalayim. There's something missing over there. So it says V'chima'im Givain Itzel Yerushalayim. Shlomo received that great prophecy in Gibeon, where God asks him what he wants, wealth, wisdom. That was like the big event in Shlomo's life. Your money, your money or your life. So Ela Makish Yitziasim Gibeon Yerushalayim. So there's a comparison here. Given to Yerushalayim. I'm sorry. Yitziasim given to Yerushalayim. There's a comparison from going from given to Yerushalayim, Libiyasim Yerushalayim, given to coming from Yerushalayim to given. Ma biyasim Yerushalayim, given pan of klapi bama kaderech biyasi. Just like when he came from Yerushalayim to given, he's facing the bama. He's facing given. When you walk to someplace, you face it. And okay, af Yitziasim given Yerushalayim, pan of klapi bama kaderech biyasi. Yeah, what he's doing as he's leaving Givain, he's walking backwards. Just like when there's a hekesh, there's a comparison. Just like the coming to Givain. Givain over here was where the Mizbeach was, not Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim was later. But he comes face forward to Givain. He leaves with his face still facing Givon as he's walking out backwards.
What is saying? Yeah, it's not. I think it's just referring to that.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, you can see in the Gemara soon. וכן קיינים בעבודתם מלווים בדוכנם ישראל במעמדם כשהם נפטרים לא יהיו מחזירים פניהם והולכים אלא מצטדים פניהם והולכים. They would turn their face sideways to walk. They couldn't sideways would probably mean that they have to just look a little bit to see, make sure they don't bump into anything. But they walk backwards. We call Isa Shalom. It's Isa Shalom. Geen Talmud, they joke the maid, when she mops the floor, she's supposed to do Isa Shalom out of the room, but lock yourself in and then walk over. Okay. Geen Talmud anifter me rabbi. The student that leaves his teacher lo yachzer pana v'yelach al mitzaded pana v'haylach. He should not turn around and walk out. We did this by the Ayal. We did this by the Rebbe's room. People do this when they kiss the Aron Kodesh. They walk back. See that? Okay, you don't turn around and put the show your back to the teacher. Ki hadar Rabbi Lazar karav miftim neder Rabbi Yochanan. That's what Rabbi Lazar did when he would leave Rabbi Yochanan. Karav boy Rabbi Yochanan l'seguye. When Rabbi Yochanan would leave, Abigachen koi Rabbi Lazar aduchte. Gachen is like the bow. Rabbi Lazar would bow in his place. Adavi michsi Rabbi Yochanan minei. Until Rabbi Yochanan would leave. So Rabbi Yochanan was getting up to leave. Rabbi Lazar is there. Rabbi Lazar would bow and wait till Rabbi Yochanan disappeared. When Rabbi Lazar needed to leave, Rabbi Yochanan, he would walk backwards until he couldn't see Rabbi Yochanan anymore. Rava, and Rava was leaving Rabbi Yosef. Rava, when he was leaving Rabbi Yosef, he would walk backwards until he would bang his knees, and there was blood that was flowing on the threshold of Rabbi Yosef from Rava's blood. I don't know what kari means. Kari sounds like the knee, The leg. The leg. Kari could mean the leg. Bang his leg. Yeah, we have this. Where do we have this?
He's walking back. We called him a name.
Is that what we said? No. We had it in Shabbos where Rava was sitting on his fingers or something when he was learning. And the Tzduki told him, and the Bektis, he told him, I'm a diseaser. You do things fast. You don't think. You said Nasa before Nishma. You don't know what you're getting into. Yeah. So here his blood is on the doorstep because he's walking backwards. Amalela Rabbi Yosef, Hachi Avad Rava. They said to Rabbi Yosef, this is what Rava's doing. Amalei, you see, Rabbi Yosef was blind. He wouldn't have seen the blood. He wouldn't have seen what Rava was, the way Rava was walking out. Amalei, he says, Yehi Rava the Taram Reisha Chakula Karcha. It should be the will of Hashem that your head should be lifted above the whole city. Maybe that's why we pass him like Rava. But it means it's probably that he should become the Rosh Hashiva. Rava was. No, Rava was the Rosh Hashiva. Rabbi Yosef was the Rosh Hashiva. Rabbi was the Rosh Hashiva, I think, for 22 years or something. Then Rabbi Yosef was the Rosh Hashiva after Rabbi, and then I think Rabbi took over. Amar Rabbi Alexandria, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Am Spal Tzorchi, Afsiya Sholish Psias Lacher Vachkach Yikum Shalom. Shua ben Levi says that when someone davens, it's supposed to take 3 steps back, and afterwards say Shalom. I assume we do that by saying Isa Shalom. Yeah, it doesn't mean Sim Shalom. It only means Isa Shalom. Amar layer of Mordechai. Oh, we're supposed to take out the leg. Amar of Mordechai, Kivin Shapasa Shalos Psis Lacherev, Hasami Baye Leila Mekam. he has to stand there. When you take 3 steps back, you don't rush back. You take 3 steps back and you wait there, standing still in that position. Mashal Talmud Anifta Mirabai, a student that's leaving his teacher, Mchesel Alter, this is like a double mashal. If he returns right away, Daima Lekelep Shashav Al Kei, an expression. A dog that returns to his vomit. He says if he vomited, he doesn't want it anymore. Why is he coming back? So you just did something nice. You walk back respectfully. Don't just rush forward to return like this is over. I'm not sure what the comparison here is. I get the comparison to the student, but then to the dog is throwing him to the dogs. Tanya Namiyachi. It was taught in a Brisa Mispalzer, Shefsiya Shalish Siyas Lachere, Vachach Gitum Shalom, Vim Layasakin Reish Layispal. That's a strong statement. Someone that davens has to take 3 steps back and then say Shalom. You don't do this, better not to daven. Or he was worthy of not, it would have been, that's what it sounds like. Roy Leish Layispal. It would have been better not to daven.
What did you learn? You immediately go back one way.
The famous man You're supposed to wait the amount of time it takes for Dalit Amos, to walk Dalit Amos. However, if you with the minyan, you're supposed to wait till the Chazan reaches Kedusha, and then you walk upon. And if it's Ma'ariv, then you wait, at least the Chabad customers, to wait until half of Kaddish, until the words Tiskabel. That's when the Rebbe will walk back. That's the Shachas, when you stand there until B'Shas Adchak, I think you can wait until the beginning of Shemon Esrei, I think it says, or Dalit Amos, even if with the minyan. When you walk back, you stand there. Yeah, in the schools, they say when you finish Shemon Esrei, sit down. They don't want the kids get rowdy waiting for the people that have longer. They sit in your seat. There's less damage. But then there's a problem because when they become bar mitzvah, they don't know that they were never taught that they're supposed to stand there. So what happened in the schools? They'd say stand there. We go. Kids would go like this, and like bang, they can get up to trouble. Okay. So Mishum Shmaya Amru. Shmaya, Aleph, Rab Shmaya. I thought it would have been Shmaya of Italian, but the Bach changed it to Rab Shmaya. In the name of Rab Shmaya, they said Shnais and Shalom. That sounds like Rab Shmaya sounds like an Amira. Shnais and Shalom Limin, Rachakach L'Smal. You say Shalom to the right, and then to the left. We'll see in a minute. It means your right, or it means the opposite right. Shenemar Miyamine Shtaslame. On his right side, showing the significance of the right, is the fiery law. It also says from the side will fall 1,000, from the right side will fall 10,000. My Vaimer, what's the extra pasuk? Could have said, well, we said it was poetry. It talks about the hand, it's at the right hand, whatever. Poetic. But then it says clearly that there's a distinction between the right and the left. So we say, no, there's a big difference. So you have to give more credit to the right.
The right's always right.
The right's always right. Rava Chazia La'abaya Diyav Shlamali Yamina Beresha. Oh, Rava, or maybe it's Rabba. It's two Gersais here. Rabba sees that Abaya is saying, Shalom is bowing to the right. The small didach coming at it has to be Rabba. Rabba doesn't really talk to Abaya like that. Rabba's the teacher. So I said, you thought I meant to the to your right? No, I meant to the right of Hashem, which would be standing opposite you. So it means you go to the left first, right? Go to the left, then to the right, then to the center. That's how we do it. I'm Rav Chia Breder Rav Huna. Chasinu la'Abaya b'Rava the pasi shalosh p'sis b'kriyachas. Rav Chia bar Rav Huna said he saw Abaya in Rava that they would do the whole 3 steps in one bow. That means they bowed first and they walked back. While they were bowing, they walked the 3 steps back. I know we do it. We have a difference between Kaddish and Nisa Shalom. I don't remember what it is. One of them we do to your right, Tony, the left person. Just Kayanim. We do to the Yeref Hashem is the right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the idea. Right. Everyone give one. It's like the dreidel game. Okay, Mispalo. You look at we do it to the left one. Trying to think what would it is. It's Shalom. The left and the right and the center. You have to look in the instructions in the English siddur. There's instructions. Mismal tefillah k'tzar beis hachitzim. He davens a short prayer in the Heichal. My Matzli, what does he say? Rava Baravada, Varavan Baravada, Tavayim Shmei Rav Amri. They both say in the name of Rav that what does the Kohen Gadol say? It's time to pray. Amri, Yiratzim Ulfanecha, Shmei Rav Amri. They say, Yiratzim Ulfanecha Hashem Elokeinu. This is what he says. Should be the will in front of, before you, Hashem our God, Shetei Shana Zu, that this year should be Geshumo Shchuna, rainy and hot. Miami. The Gemara says right away it's challenged, didn't New Yorkers? Shchuna Mal, I see. That's a something positive. Humidity. What is this? Elaima im shchuna tegeshuma. They say no. If it's hot, at least it should be rainy. Like Miami. Back to Miami. Right. Ravacha Breder Rabba Messiah Mishmei Rav Yehuda Layadi Avid Shultan Beis Yehuda. Ravacha, the son of Rabba, says that they would also that he would conclude. Rabbi Yehuda says he would conclude that Yadi, I think Yadi means to leave. Avid Shultan mid Beis Yehuda, the leadership, the jurisdiction should not leave the house of Yehuda. The Jewish people shouldn't need parnasa one from another. In other words, they should have enough agriculture that they should be able to. That should be enough. Don't listen to the prayers of the people that are traveling. They want the rain to stop. Rabbi Chanina ben Daisa, Rabbi Chanina ben Daisa was one time on the road. The rain was being thrown on him. That's the expression. Shada means it was raining. So Amar, he said, Master of the world, the whole world is at peace, but Chanina's suffering. What do they call this? You speak about yourself in third person. The Pasuk Mitra, it stopped. The rain stopped. When he came to his house, the whole world is in distress. Chanina's relaxed. Apparently, he didn't have a garden, so he didn't need the rain. So Asamitra, the rain started to fall. Amar Rabbi Yosef, the basis says, "My highly slice of the Kohen Gadol legaber B'Chanina ben Daisa." What's the prayer of the Kohen Gadol going to work with Rabbi Chanina ben Daisa around? Yeah, maybe he's just saying. Not that what's going to work. It's just saying that Rabbi Chanina ben Daisa was even greater than the Kohen Gadol. So that was his point. Rabbi Chanina ben Daisa. I know that he returned those chickens. With the red cloth around it. Remember? That's a big deal. Wait, didn't he turn them into goats? Yeah. And then he ate bucks. Tanur Rabbanan. You have to go through the whole list. He was Tanur Rabbanan. Maisa became gadol echad she'erich betfilas. One time a Kohen Gadol was extending his prayer. Nimna echav came likanis achrav. Nimna echav. What is? Nimna sounds like they voted. They decided. Should we go and see what's going on? They can't go make kiddush because it's Yom Kippur. So they said, let's go check what's happening. They started to go in. He was walking out. Why did you say a longer prayer? I was praying for you. It's bad. It's distressful for you that I was davening that the Beis Hamikdash doesn't get destroyed. Don't do this again. Don't scare us. Yeah. This is like the mothers. Call me when you cross the street. Call me when you get on the bus. Call me. Okay. Mishnah says, Mishanatal Arain, Mishanital Arain, once the Arain was taken away, there was a stone that was there from the days of the Nevi'im. I thought it says that the stone was there from creation. From there, the whole world was created. Shasiya Haisenikras was called Shasiya. The Gemara says, Misham Pushsas. Sounds like the foundation. So, anyway, Gavayim and Art Shalish Spice. It was 3 spice above the ground. And he would put the fire pan onto that stone. Nonetheless, Hadam, we're skipping the detail here. He would exit the Kodesh HaKodashim. And then he would go back. Remember, there was someone that was mixing the blood so that it doesn't congeal. It was the blood of the par. He left it in middle. He went to do the Ketores. He shechted it. He caught the blood and he gave it to someone to hold. He went to take care of the Ketores. So now he gets the blood back. Nichnas l'makim shenichnas. He goes back into the Kodesh HaKodashim to the same location where he was. V'amad b'makim shamad v'hizim imenu. And then he starts to sprinkle in the same location. He's standing between the staves of the Aron, and he starts to sprinkle. Achas l'mayla v'sheva l'mata. 1 above and 7 below. It's not that he intended it to land this one a little bit further and this one lower. Rather, kimatzlev, it was in a row. I think we should say matzlev is like a whip. But Rashi doesn't know. It means it would be in a row. This is the way he would count. Achas, first he would say 1 because he did 1 above. And then he would say achas v'achas. Achas v'shtayim, achas v'shalish, achas v'arba, achas v'chamesh, achas v'sheish, achas v'sheva. He didn't want to he didn't want to stop counting. He had to include the first one in all of the countings for some reason. Not to get confused. Well, at the beginning, achas v'achas, I understand. He did once. Then he could do the next one, he could say 2. That would be confusing because he needs to do achas twice, 1 upward and 7 downward. Achas, and then another achas. Okay. So that over there, I understand why he needs to do achas v'achas. I don't know why he needs to do achas v'shtayim, achas v'shalim. Well, 1 and 1. 1 and 2. Right? 1 up, 2 down. 1 up, 1 down. Achas, yeah. Sheva l'mata. Now, I think what it means is that 1 was upward, the others were downward. Okay, Yatza, he goes out. And he puts it on a pedestal, something that's going to hold it. We usually they didn't have flat bottoms. At least that's what we learned by the Karban Pesach, that they didn't want anyone to put it down. But over here, maybe there was some way of holding it. They put it onto something. They bring him the goat. Now he's obviously exiting the heichal. Shachtu, he shechs the goat. Remember, there was a lottery about these goats. Kibel b'mizrikas damai. He catches the blood. Nichnas l'makim shenichnas. He goes back into the same location where he was in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. V'amad makim she'amad. V'hizam mimenu, and he sprinkles achas l'mayla v'sheva l'mata. And they had in. He didn't intend to it should hit a certain place. He just did it in a row. But and this is how it would count. Achas v'achas. Achas ushtayim chulu. Yeah, etc. Yatzav v'nichal kanazav hasheni shebehechal. He came out and he put it on a second pedestal. So now there's the blood of the par on one pedestal was sitting there. Now there's the blood of the goat in the second one. And Rabbi Yehuda Aimer lo yayoshem ele kan echad b'vad. There was only one. And natal damapar v'niach damasar. He took the damapar and he put down the damasar. He took it back. Yeah, they cut out the repetition. And now he would take the damapar and he would sprinkle that towards the pareiches, directly opposite where he was standing inside a few minutes ago, sprinkling the blood of. He did it. He did it for the par in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. He did it for the Sar in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Now he's in the Kodesh, in the Heichal, and he's doing it opposite the same location. There's just the curtain in between, and he's doing it towards the curtain. That's a little bit unclear right here. Yeah, we'll discuss that, I think. Not all damasar. Now he takes the damasar. V'niach damapar. He puts down the damapar. He's a mimena al preches megarar mibachot l'mayla v'sheva l'mata. He sprinkles from this.
This is after he left.
Yeah. He wasn't back in the Kodesh Kodashim.
He was walking back.
No, he was in the Kodesh HaKadoshim for the Ketairas. Then he came back in for the par. Then he came back in for the Sar. And now he's in the Heichal, and he sprinkles first the par. Now he sprinkles the Sar. And what does he do now? Ira damapar l'teich damasar. He mixes the damapar into the damasar. He mixes the two bloods together. And he puts the full container inside. That's a stack. He put the full one into the empty one on the bottom. Okay, let's leave this right here. Which detail?